One, number 3.
No, I got 3 here. There's 3.
Thank you.
Is it?
This marks it. Okay, this is
Man, I could get used to having this kind of.
7.2. And then just the general. And these two I can give to.
Oh,
Fine.
Are we going to present them with one of these?
Yes, I'm gonna sell it.
But if I was gonna give them one now, can I present it to them? If the,
Bring it up.
I'd be better to do this.
Yeah, because Sam's and things should be. Okay.
I just want to give them a copy.
I'll-
Then we'll present it to them at the,
We're gonna frame it.
but you want to give it to them today too? I act like we won't do you. Well, we. Jimmy. Hey, give it to them. We can take a picture and.
You got my back, right?
Yeah, good luck. Hey, you can have mine, I can
Awesome.
have yours, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I mean, I can cover you with the thing on this. I can't.
All right, Travis County Commissioner Court come to order. We need to get going. Got a lot to do. It is 9:34 a.m. It's the regular meeting of Commissioners Court on Tuesday, 23rd day of November, 2021, scheduled for 9:30 a.m. If you'll all rise.
Let us bow our heads and pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you and give you thanks and glory, Father, for this wonderful day you've bestowed upon us. Father, I ask you to guide this court. Let us make the decisions that would make you proud, Father, that we serve all your people. Father, I ask you to heal this country, heal this nation, and guide us to be all inclusive, Father, that we can carry out your will. We ask all these things in your Son, Jesus Christ's most precious name. Amen.
Amen. Going to the pledges. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Okay. You know,
It's on there. Good. I think you just turned it back off.
Oh, man.
okay, citizens' comments. Remind you, have 3 minutes to make the comment. I have one online. Pudge Wilcox not here. Now, Pudge Wilcox is absolutely against 16.1. I guess Cheryl just go first. Cheryl Shaw. Yeah, Cheryl, would you make sure that microphone's on, please?
Just look for a green light on the top side.
Okay, you may proceed, ma'am.
All right, good morning. My name is Cheryl Shaw. I'm the chairman of the Chambers County Historical Commission and here to speak on item 16.1, library and historical. I was told by Valerie that the item was being pulled, but I would like to just take a minute to say a thing or two. The topic was the potential move of the Thomas Jefferson Chambers home and the office of Dr. Schilling. I had another speech ready, but since the item's been pulled, I can save it for another day. For those who do not know, the Chambers home is on the National Register of Historic Places, is a recorded Texas historic landmark, a protected state antiquity, and the site of a granite marker placed there in 1936 to celebrate the 100th birthday of the Republic of Texas, because the site was deemed especially important to Texas history. As an antiquity, the state of Texas has the absolute final say on what can be done to and for the home. But not only is it historical, it is a treasured icon for the people of this town who grew up making memories there, a connection to the past. Just like the home has always been there for us, it was so encouraging to see so many people willing to take a stand for her. So thank you to the more than 200 people who posted support on Facebook, sent emails, and called me personally to find out what could be done to prevent these buildings from being moved. I am proud of our Chambers County Historical Commission members and everyone who showed up here today for their passion, dedication, and willingness to protect our history at all costs. The home has been at that exact spot for about 175 years and was the site of the murder of General Chambers in 1865. The Wilcox family also called it home, and descendants of both families still live in the area. If we live up to our responsibility as caretakers, for we are not the owners, but the caretakers of those properties, it will be there for many more generations as well. So we thank the Chambers County Judge Jimmy Sylvia and the commissioners for leaving those buildings right where they are. We also respectfully request that Commissioners Court and other department heads includes the Historical Commission and Valerie in future conversations that involve our historic resources. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And I will tell you, in fact, we'll go to that item and then we'll still let everyone wants to comment. 61, discuss, consider identifying location for potential move, the historic Chambers home, Schilling home that is going to be pulled. And there was some miscommunication here. And if you look at these plans that are floated around, there's always been, have left, the buildings have always planned to be left in place, at least in my mind. In fact, I wanted to enhance the area around it to make kind of a courtyard setting for folks to come, for employees to sit out and eat lunch, do whatever. So that item is
I'd like to say
full.
something.
Yeah, we're on it, so you can say something.
Yes, Judge, to piggyback on your statement too, Friday night at the football game, my secretary texted me and said, "You getting emails about the historical building?" Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I'll check it later. So I told her, and I checked on Monday when I got back in town, and I like Judge Sylvia. I was kind of shocked about it because plans are certainly not to, is to preserve history, not destroy it. And so look forward to working around these beautiful projects and historical markers and buildings, and very proud of them. Not here to destroy them. So appreciate if you get all of our information gathered correctly. Thanks.
Okay. Next, back to citizens' comments. Ms. Hawthorne, good morning. Birthday girl. What she said, that works. Darling McPherson on 16-1.
What she said.
Man, y'all doing good this morning. Darling McPherson on 110.
110.
1.10.
I had a general comment. You want me to do that first?
You got like 4 comments, so however you want to do it. General fine. You have 3 minutes to make your general comment.
Yes, my general comment is this, last Commissioners Court, there, excuse me, good morning.
Thank you for being here this morning, ladies. Go ahead.
I'm Darlene McPherson, and I appreciate the court letting me speak. Last court, you guys discussed additional funds to build parking lots for the Anahuac ball fields and the Winnie ball fields, and it went back and forth. And then we got an explanation from Mike Leslie that the parking lots were always intended to be south of the ball fields on land that didn't belong to the county, which was alarming. But I want to call your attention to the presentation that I gave you months ago, where I handed out packets, and we sent an email to Jeff at PBK, and he even was on the Zoom meeting with us, and he said it was the longest email he'd ever received in his life. And that was because we went line by line by line by line, talking about what was wrong with their plan. And one of the things that was wrong with their plan was parking, and the plan that we presented had parking. It also had 5 ball fields, and it had softball fields. Right now, we're not getting what we asked for. And I want to encourage you guys, just please listen. please listen. You're not listening to us. In our plan, we had parking. And if Mike is correct, and parking was always in there, right now, we could be saving $900,000. Thank you.
Thank you. You might as well stay and finish the others. 110.
Okay. Okay, 110 is about a resolution to consider the acquisition of property. And if I'm reading between the lines correctly, and I may not be, and I'm willing to be corrected, but we're talking about eminent domain, that nasty word. I would request that you form a committee and not take this to executive session, but form a committee and be transparent. And I would ask that this committee would be people that are not maybe on the court, but a committee of other people that would consider the necessity of using this extremely unpopular practice. That's just a request from the people, and it's just not only me, it's from other people. On 112, discuss and consider approving payments to Anahuac, Barbers Hill, East Chamber, Goose Creek Independent School Districts for school equalization fund and tax abatement adjustments. We need to have some transparency there. What is that? Where'd that money come from? What are we doing? We need a lot more information. A lot more transparency. Tell us what's going on. On 7.2, I think it's 7.2.
7.2 is all when you got.
Yeah. Oh, and 7.1 and 7.2. 7.1 goes along with what I said in general comments. Winnie wants the same thing Anahuac wants as far as ball fields go. And they're not getting it because you guys aren't listening to us. PBK is not listening to us. On 7.2, we're asking for additional architectural and engineering costs for the Chambers Parkway complex. Can we have some transparency on that? Where's this money coming from? And I think that's all I've got. And thank you so much. I mean, we come up here, we make our comments, but then they go nowhere. And we would really like for you guys to listen, because we are not all ignorant of what's going on. We can help. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all citizens' comments that I have. Let's go to 1.4. Discuss, ma'am. Okay. 1.4, discuss, consider adopting a resolution recognizing Charles L. Saunders for his service, sacrifice to the United States of America. Commissioner Gore.
Are they in here?
Yeah. Bring it back. Oh, come on up here. Darling, you come up with it? No, you're good? Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner. You want to read the resolution?
Resolution, whereas on December 7th, 1941, 18-year-old Charles Saunders of Winnie, Texas was assigned to the battleship USS Oklahoma, which was moored at Florida Island, Pearl Harbor, when the ship was attacked by Japanese aircraft. And whereas the USS Oklahoma sustained multiple torpedo hits, which caused it to quickly capsized, resulting in the death of 429 crewmen, including Saunders. And whereas for December 1941 to June 1944, Navy personnel recovered the remains of the deceased crew, where it was subsequently entered into the that third word, I don't know, Holla
And New
and cemetery in 1947. The remains of the U.S. casualties from these cemeteries were disentered and transferred to the Central Identification Laboratories at Schofield, Bacardo. And whereas at the time, only 35 men from the USS Oklahoma were able to be identified at the time, and The remaining men, including Saunders, were identified as non-recoverable and buried their remains in 46 plots in the National Cemetery of the Pacific, known as Punch Bowl and Honolulu. And whereas in 2015, the USS Oklahoma unknowns were once again exhumed and analyzed, and Saunders' remains regained his identity. And whereas Saunders' name is recorded on the wall of the missing in the Punch Bowl, along with the others who remained missing of World War II, a Rosetta will now be placed next to his name and indicate that he has been accounted for. And whereas Charles L. Saunders will return home on December 7th, 2021, and will finally find rest. Now, for there be it resolved that the Chambers County Commissioner Court do hereby recognize Charles L. Saunders for his service and sacrifice to the United States of America and welcome him home. A2 Timothy 4:7 says, Mr. Saunders fought the good fight, and now, after 80 years, he has finally finished his race.
Motion by Commissioners Court, second by Commissioners Court, and all those said in favor, and thank you, ma'am.
You want to tell us your name?
I'm Shannon Miller.
For the record.
I was, it was my grandmother's brother.
Okay.
So her name was Alice Franklin.
So your great uncle.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Well,
sir.
thank you.
Thank
Come
you.
on up, Bob.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna act like we're gonna give that to you today, and then we're gonna give it to you on the ceremony on,
Okay.
it's on the 6th, 7th.
Yes, sir.
What time?
10:30 at the cemetery? 10:30. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
We can make it look good.
Alrighty, okay, I'm gonna take several. Thank you. Okay, over here. You guys.
Darling,
Right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, I'll see y'all there.
Lauren, when you there. All right, I see Dr. Poole's arrived. We're going to go to 1.12. I guess Dennis isn't coming.
He's out of town.
I don't blame him. All right, 112, discuss, consider approving payments to Anahuac, Barbers Hill, East Chambers, and Goose Creek Independent School Districts, School Equalization Fund and Tax Abatement Adjustments. Aaron. Oh. Aaron, you up?
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, so I know we talked about this a lot, in executive, and kind of, this is where we're coming up to now. So, a little backstory for everybody. You know, we give a part of the school, part of the tax rate is the school equalization tax. And so how that's broken out to is by enrollment. So, you know, depending on the school and how it's enrolled, and they get a portion of that tax every year. And so, you know, we're doing all these tax abatements, and, you know, we've come to realize that maybe we shouldn't have abated those taxes previously. And so we've been really fortunate with industry and all these abatements that we get really good 3-to-1 payments. And so to, I guess, I'm not sure how you would say it.
Well, we actually were collecting that under 381 agreement.
Right.
For the schools, the way we ended up seeing it. So now we're giving it.
Yeah,
back to them.
yeah, because it's really their money. We're just passing it back to the schools. And so really what we kind of worked up was we would give each school $500,000 for 2 years, and that we would work to going forward on any new tax abatements, which we're doing now, would be they would get 100% of that back through the pilot, 3 pilot. And then, you know, we would just kind of work to inch that tax rate up every, back to where it was, because we realized we shouldn't have, used the abated appraised value. So now they're on a different valuation, so it's much higher. So because of the compression and the new laws for 3.5%, increases, it got dropped down. But that's kind of our solution to the problem, and really not a problem, but just getting it back to the schools where
Rightfully there.
yes, sorry, I'm a little tongue tied right now.
Yeah,
Too much
fail.
coffee.
It's not because of that, right?
No, it usually is.
Is Scott kicking you over there or what?
He is. He's poking me.
All right, so yeah, this is, and one of the good things about it is, if it was coming through the school equalization tax, Barb's Hill would actually receive how much percent, Greg?
Oh, like 60%.
Yeah, 59%. So what this agreement does is give each school equal amounts. So that means East Chambers and Anahuac are really getting a windfall from it. All right,
Yep.
Scott, Dr. Poole, Billy, somebody want?
So I'll start. That's all right.
You go right ahead.
Greg Poole for the record. And it is Thanksgiving, but you got us here. I mean, you give money, you get us here, and we brought gifts. Becky McManus, our CFO, is in the bag.
Morning, Becky.
Oh, Becky.
Jamie Navarre as well. I'll call
Jamie,
attention
Jamie.
to her. And I brought some gifts, but first, just some comments. Yeah, I don't think it's a problem either. I think what we're doing now, we do believe is the right way to do it. But you could also say, no, we don't think so. And so, you're doing this of your own free will. And we absolutely acknowledge and accept and appreciate, because it is a team effort. This whole COVID thing, for example, was a team effort. And I would challenge anybody to find a county and school districts that managed it better. I didn't say managed it perfect. There was no such thing. So this is just, to me, another extension of that fact. This is a team effort, and we very much appreciate it. Certainly it'll be put to good use. And I want to comment one other thing. We would receive on any of these monies, we receive it on a per pupil basis. So yeah, we would, out of 4 million total, we would receive over 2 million. And yet I've got one board member that can speak to this. We're totally comfortable, and Randy O'Brien was as well, that Anahuac and East Chambers have not been as beneficial with some of the industrial growth. So in a sense, we're shifting that million to spread to them. And I think it's very fitting. And Scott's not kicking me. For the record. So now, can I give some gifts over there? Is that
Sure.
right? All right. Now, the fact that I got these through your metal detector, just don't get anybody mad.
I like your gifts, Doc. So I feel pumped up.
It's a good gift. The Matador.
How did you get
Is it
that
another
through there?
gun, Doc?
No,
Thank you, sir.
it's Moore Brothers pocket knives.
How about a sword?
And they're in Matador, Texas, and I'm in Moore Maker.
Plenty
It is
of them.
the best. And my grandfather worked at the Matador Ranch. And my great-grandfather, actually.
Whose initials is this on here?
Yeah,
That's
That
really
is
nice.
cool, Doc.
Get hand one?
Yeah.
All right. So
Give
it
hand
says-
one.
it says
Thank you.
DH on it. And we do have a check as well. I'm just gonna let Scott say a few words, but we do have a check that's made out.
Okay.
James County
Let-
seal.
Yeah, let Scott speak and then we'll bring it up. We'll take
All
a
right.
picture.
Well, I have no gifts to bear. And
All right, sit back
play
down. Sit down.
I can't play the drum, so I don't know what to do except thank you. If Greg wasn't here, I'd go ahead and lobby for this new 25% rule. That's a nice thing. So did he leave? No, he's still there. But no, what I really want to acknowledge is the court and the judge, and especially Greg Poole, for really leading our group as we worked through trying to figure out the fair share and the county's efforts to get the equalization issue settled. It's a good thing for all of the students in Chambers County. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And Greg said it, Dr. Poole said it, we're a team, we work together. I mean, we work through not only COVID, but other disasters, and we've worked hand in hand, but we represent the same people. So, all right.
Hey, Jimmy, can I
Go ahead.
say,
Sure.
I think on the agenda is the.
Just remember,
land
you don't get the
topic.
microphone last though.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but
You've messed up.
I was gonna give you a quick version of what's going on that, if that's okay, because I wasn't going to be here. And I think George had said maybe I could say a few words. Just this is on the land.
Yeah, I was gonna go to it. Let's do it, then we'll take. it.
Okay, so if you're going to. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we need to vote on that one. Come on,
Okay, all right.
entertain a motion.
Be my motion.
So
Judge.
moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gore,
Second.
second by Commissioner Tice. Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Oh, and for the record, Commissioner Hammond is not here today. All right, let's go ahead and go to 1.6. Stay there, Stan
Okay.
and Scott, and then we'll get a
We'll go
picture.
back.
1.6 is 1.8. Discuss, consider reverting ownership of 1.6 acres of the Gauss Library land back to Barbara Hill ISD for construction of a new school.
All right,
Go ahead.
I can go. So what a perfect segue, because there's another example of teamwork. Happy birthday, Heather, by the way. And because in my office, and I think Jimmy's got it somewhere, and Nick Dixon, we've got all of the seals of each, the city, the county, and the school district, because it was a team effort in building that library. We didn't know how much acreage at the time. And at the time, we even said, well, we could always revert it back, or those comments were had. But turns out we're growing much faster than we even anticipated at that time. And we have already passed a 9th grade building in a previous bond that will be built on that location. And it really would make us a big difference to have that acreage. Now, we are willing to do parking such that it also could be used for the library. So we'll serve that purpose. But that's really what happened. The library looks great. We're proud of it. We just, it's would make it a lot easier on us in building that 9th grade campus. And again, we will commit to doing things that benefit the library as well.
Judge. can I say
Yes,
something?
sure.
You shouldn't give superintendents.
Yeah, I know.
But I wanted to say this when Shannon was here. She grew up in Winnie, and when we received word about Saunders, the funeral procession, if y'all are there, if you're able to come, it'll be nice. But they're gonna route the funeral procession around the school, and all 1,500 students. We're gonna do a teachable moment about that whole Pearl Harbor.
That's cool.
And they're gonna be waving little flags that they get to keep. And we also, under provisions of the law, are able, he was a student at East Chambers, so we went back to our archives and found where he left East Chambers and joined the Navy before he graduated. And we're able to posthumously grant him a diploma. We're going to be doing that day as well.
Wow.
Wonderful. Yeah,
I
I'll be
just
there.
wanted people to know that, because
It's cool.
I should have said it while Shannon was here.
All right, on 1.6, motion by Commissioner Tice.
1.6.
1.8, well, it's 1.6 acres, 1.8.
That's
Second by
right.
Commissioner Combs.
Second.
Any other questions, comments, those in favor?
And that
Vote.
library land, that is gonna tremendously aid us with,
Yes, sir. All right, come on up. Let's get a picture. Step down.
My God, it's a big check.
Yeah. You can put your seal on there. That wasn't easy.
There you go.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
wait, put that check down. Let them do theirs and then I'll do that last. Here we go. Can we take Nicole Whitty's on?
Don't mind her name.
Wait, I'm not for reelection. Here we go. I'm gonna take several. There we go. Thank you.
Hang on, we got. And as
Okay.
soon as I get it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good
Thanks, sir.
Have a good day.
After this call. Immediately.
Oh, immediately. Thank you.
All right, we need to go to 111. Mallory, you're up. Discuss, consider approval and adoption of the Chambers County Sexual Assault Response Team Plan. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Will you state your name for the record?
Mallory Vargas, and I'm an assistant district attorney at the Chambers County DA's office.
Do you need that little table there? Or-
I think I'm good without it.
Okay.
I'm afraid I might break it. Good morning, commissioners. So the 87th Texas Ledge passed a law requiring all county commissioners courts to form by appointment a sexual assault response team. The law has prescribed, statutorily prescribed members, not by name, but obviously by title. There are 7 that are required, and there's an option to add more. What you have in your packet are the proposed members that are applicable to Chambers County. The court will have to appoint those, and then that team is a multidisciplinary team that will create a plan, a protocol for the county, present that to the court so that victims of sexual assault receive trauma-informed care, direction, law enforcement and entities that provide services to these victims work together to ensure that every part that they encounter in the criminal justice system has this trauma-informed response. Right now, there's no funding requirement because this is a new team. There are statutory guidelines for if you need to fund it in the future, but right now it just needs to be established by December 1st so the team can create the protocol.
Yeah, I was in a judicial education class Friday morning, and this came up and said, you gotta do it by December 1st, and I'm going, it's the first I've heard of it. So I'm emailing Ashley and Lauren and saying, get this on the agenda, what's going on, but yeah, so here we are. So what's the difference, Lauren? Just tell me what's printed and what's on the.
One that she's printed out actually has the name.
It has, so the names changed. I got more
Okay.
specific on the names.
So
for-
they changed from what was in the packet?
Yes.
Yeah, so what we're proving is the printed
Yes,
version.
correct.
And currently it's not an unfunded mandate for change, so. I entertain a motion. Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Tice, to approve the printed version of Chambers County Sexual Assault Response Team Plan. Any questions? Mallory, anything else?
That's it, Judge.
Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. May I be excused?
You may be.
Thank you. Well, have a great Thanksgiving.
You too.
We'll be working on this plan.
All right. Good job. Thanks. Seriously, thanks for getting that together.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Who else? It's 10 o'clock. All right, we have several public hearings. So at this time, 10:05 a.m., we're going to recess out regular session of Commissioners Court and go into public hearings. First public hearing, scheduled 10 a.m. is 1.1 to discuss redistricting plan for Chambers for Commissioners Court precincts. And Ms. Hawthorne.
Sure.
Oh, that's right. I knew it. No. So gentlemen, we should be wrapping this up. I think that we had a public hearing on Tuesday, the 16th. And generally all comments were positive. I think that we have come up with a plan that is going to serve the citizens of the county, at least for the next decade. And I recommend adoption of the commissioner precinct lines and the JP lines.
Any public comments at this time? Okay, we'll adjourn out of the public hearing, go back in the regular session. 1.2, discuss, consider order adopting the redistricting plan for Chambers County Court precincts.
I'll move to approve the plan as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions, comments? We beat this horse to death. So those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, 1.6, public hearing 10 a.m. discuss successful status for countywide polling place program from Texas Secretary of State for Chambers County, Texas. 10:07 a.m. Recess out of regular session and go into the public hearing. Ms. Hawthorne.
Judge, we, now, Judge, thank you. We, county applied for, now it is, we applied for the countywide polling program through the Secretary of State's office back this summer. The countywide polling program is so that you can vote anywhere on election day. You don't have to return to your home precinct to vote. We were granted the ability to do that for the constitutional amendment election. We have only received positive comments about the experience that people had. The Republican chairman sent me an email, which was very nice of him to say, not only as the Republican chairman, but as an election judge, that the experience was positive, that he didn't have to turn away people on election day to go vote in their home precinct. It made it nice that people could vote by their by the area of which they're employed. Other than that, I'm hoping we can get a successful status.
There's not a whole lot of counties in the state that has this, right? I mean, it's very limited.
It's a limited program, yes, sir. They award 4 counties under a certain population bracket and then you have to apply for successful status. I've never thought that the county needed it prior to now, that there were counties larger than us that really needed it within our population bracket. But with the growth, Interstate 10, everything else, I decided it was time.
I appreciate the effort and everything you've done to get this.
Thank you.
Worked great.
Thank you, Ms. Hawthorne. Any public comments? Okay, we're going to adjourn out of the public hearing. 1.7, discuss, consider adopting a resolution requesting a successful status for countywide polling place program from the Texas Secretary of State for Chambers County, Texas.
Second.
First by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Combs. Questions, comments, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. So you got you out of there first. So you done, since it's your birthday.
You can go have your party now.
Yeah. All right, economic development tourism, 5.1, public hearing 10 a.m. on the proposed adoption of guidelines and criteria governing chapter 312 tax abatement agreements by Chambers County. Good morning, BJ. It's 10:10 a.m. We will recess and go into public hearing at this time.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. As is required by the Texas Tax Code, Chapter 312, units of government have to choose or select to continue participating in tax abatement under Chapter 312. The last time guidelines for tax abatement under 312 were adopted by the county, where it was in November of 2019. Here we are in November of 2021, and revised guidelines are presented for your review and consideration today. There have been some changes in the guidelines proposed that reflect the decisions that the court has taken over the past 2 years. And then also some provisions that are required under 312 once it was extended back in 2019. And so what you have before you is a draft that it reflects those proposed changes. There's a comment, the administratory provisions that are noted related to Chambers County Appraisal District. The interplay between the county and the appraisal district has become much more integrated because of the reporting requirements associated with the changes in the statute. And so the intent of these 3 paragraphs, reflect that, so that when applicants understand their obligations under the Chapter 312 for interacting with the appraisal district, doesn't fall on the county, but relates to their interaction with the appraisal district, so they can get the exemptions that are expected under 312. Just going to skip through a few things. There's some specific definitions that are included in this draft. The first is on page 2, the direct definition related to distribution centers. Obviously, there's that significant activity associated with logistics and distribution in the county. And so added a definition for distribution center as it applies to what's happening in West Chambers County. On page 3, there is a specific definition for a speculative building or spec building because of that issue that presented itself in the past. On page 4, there is a reference to under item G, author, execution, and value and term of agreement. For many years since inception, the court had a standard tax abatement schedule that 5 years at 100% for the first 2 years, 75% in year 3, 60% in year 4, and then 50% in year 5. What the change here reflects is that abatement will be negotiated based upon an economic impact analysis. It's a practice that we've been using for some time and looking at the economic impact, but it's going to change and be more refined so that the expectation is that the court will not enter into a defined abatement, and it's going to be looked at. Each project or application is going to be assessed on its own merit. So just reading directly from the paragraph for item G, that Chambers County in its sole discretion shall determine the amount of any abatement or incentive, and the term of any abatement will not exceed 10 years. And so if the court chooses to adopt the regular schedule, which results in a net impact or net abatement of about 77% over 5 years, the court can do that. But what's being proposed is that each application is going to be assessed on its own merits. Economic impact analysis will be conducted by us or whomever, and then presented to the court for consideration. So that's a choice that you can make today. And then on page 5, there are some specific references to under economic qualification, section I. If you recall, 2 years ago, the minimum threshold for capital investment to qualify was increased from 500,000 to 750,000. That remains. And so item 2 is of interest that for projects that are located within ETJ or special district or those areas in limited purpose annexation, the expectation is that elements of any abatement that an applicant would be derived from those entities, the court would expect it to have the same. And so a specific example of that is any sort of inventory stipulation that would be embodied in the negotiated industrial district agreement with the city of Baytown, if in fact an applicant stipulates to a certain inventory level, the expectation is that the court is going to have the same. And so that was the intent, to address some of the issues related to inventory. And then item 3, there's a specific reference to speculative development, distribution centers, and any sort of warehouse operations related to inventory, and the expectation that minimum values are going to be stipulated to in the agreements that the court entered into. Then at the bottom of page 5, just again, another element that has been expressed and concerned by the court, that further, if the applicant receives incentives or abatement, that all things being equal, preferential treatment will be given to hiring operators, construction workers residing in Chambers County, not only in the construction phase, but also in the operations phase. And the spirit of that is embodied in the agreements as well. And those are the more substantive issues that are proposed for your consideration for today.
Thank you, sir. All right, any public comments on the guidelines? Hearing none, we will adjourn out of public hearing, go into regular session 10:16. We go to 5.2, discuss and consider resolution adopting guidelines and criteria governing Chapter 312 tax abatement agreements by Chambers County.
Thank you, Judge. This is a resolution that affirms the court's intent, or the county's intent, to continue to participate in the tax abatement program under Chapter 312. The recitals are typical. The only change is that there's a specific reference in the second to last paragraph that because of practice in our contractual obligations and in relationship with the county, that the Economic Development Foundation is the designated entity for facilitating this process. And then the last paragraph on that page speaks to the Texas Tax Code, Chapter 312, and the requirement that guidelines and criteria are going to be unchanged and remain in effect for the 2 years once adopted by 3/4 of vote of the court. And the last paragraph prior to the second to last paragraph on page 2 of the recital is that these guidelines do not limit the discretion of the court to decide whether or not to enter into a specific abatement or agreement. And this language is taken directly from chapter 312. And so even outside of the guidelines or outside of the realm of 312, the court can choose to enter into all the elements of a tax abatement.
Motion back to Mr. Combs, second back to Mr. Tass. Questions? Those in favor?
Right.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, BJ. 5.3, public hearing 10 a.m. regarding the Augie Realty LLC 2021 reinvestment zone. So at 10:18 a.m., we'll recess and go into the public hearing. BJ.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Augie Realty LLC is applying or has applied to establish a reinvestment zone for a project they're contemplating at the Maryport Business Park off of FM 565. This is a distribution center, e-commerce fulfillment project. It's a 1.01 million square foot facility. Capital investment is about $50 million that would create 25 to 100 jobs at full build out. The court has approved the application for designation of the reinvestment zone, and reinvestment zone is required to move forward with the tax abatement process.
Thank you. All right, any comments, public comments regarding the Augie Realty? Okay, it's 10:18. We will adjourn out of public hearing back in the regular session. 5.4, discuss, consider order designating the Augie Realty LLC 2021 reinvestment zone.
Thank you, Judge. It's simply an order that effectuates the establishment of the reinvestment zone. All notices were publicly published as required. The applicant has met all the requirements to establish the 2021 reinvestment zone.
Entertained motion. Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 5.6, public hearing 10 a.m. regarding the TGS CP 7575 Sutton Road LLC tax abatement agreement 1019. We'll recess, go into public hearing. BJ.
Thank you, Judge. TGS CP 7575 Sutton Road LLC applied to the court. Their application was approved. This is a build to suit project. It's 507,000 square foot facility they're building. Their tenant is a well-known e-commerce furniture retailer named Article, and the agreement is presented for your consideration today. Elements of this agreement reflect some of the items that were approved here recently under the new guidelines. The expectation of the applicant or the tenant to meet certain criteria vis-a-vis inventory is noted on page 5, item 604. They have indicated that they expect to have a minimum anywhere between $3 and $5 million of inventory value every January 1st over term. However, just as noted earlier, any changes in that or any stipulation that's associated with any other agreement, the court has the right to amend the agreement accordingly to reflect that. Obviously, this is the minimum threshold. The final determination will be the greater value of either the stipulated value or that as assessed by CCAD. And so the elements of the agreement satisfy all the requirements of the guidelines as adopted and presented for your approval today.
Thank you. Your public comments. Here none, 10:21 a.m. We'll adjourn out of public hearing, go back into regular session. 5.7, discuss and consider the TGS CP 7575 Sutton Road LLC tax abatement agreement.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, the agreement is presented for your approval today.
Move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Public hearing 10 a.m. Last one, I think. Public hearing 10 a.m. regarding the TGS CP 6363 LLC tax abatement agreement. We'll recess and go to the public hearing at 10:21 a.m. BJ.
Yes, thank you, Judge. TGS CP 6363 LLC has requested to table this consideration. They're still formulating an approach or strategy to optimize their ability to lease this.
So do we need to have a public hearing?
No.
No public hearing either?
No. I tried to communicate that via text to you, Judge, but.
Well, I got the text, but I didn't know whether you're tabling the agenda
I'm sorry.
item or the public hearing or both.
Both.
Okay,
All right.
so we'll go back in regular session at 10:22 a.m. and 5.8 and 5.9 are tabled.
Do we need to do anything on 5.5, Judge?
Yes, Commissioner.
I was going back to that.
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to take care of the public hearings. All right, 5.5, discuss, and thank you. 5.5, discuss, consider scheduling a public hearing on December 28th, 2021 regarding the Augie Realty LLC tax payment agreement,
Yes, Judge, 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. on the 28th. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Gore. Any questions? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I think I got all BJ done.
Yes, yes, thank you, Judge. Commissioners.
Thank you, Big John.
Thank you, BJ.
Happy Thanksgiving. I want to
Happy
compliment
Thanksgiving.
Aaron on his hard work on the resolution of the school equalization tax.
Yeah, well, you and Aaron, we all worked hard together on that. Glad to get that done also.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, BJ.
Appreciate all the effort on we doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, let's take 10. It is at 10:23.
Wait a minute.
It's 10:36 a.m. Oh. Let's go to 110, discuss and consider, Nathan, you're up. Discuss and consider adopting resolution in order decreeing the acquisition of property to be a public necessity and authorizing the acquisition and payment of compensation for the Chambers County Judicial and Jail Center in Anahuac, Texas. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioner Judge. This is a county resolution in connection with the judicial and jail centers that the county's been looking at. We've already had a resolution in place for some time, but as I understand it, the project's grown a little bit in scope in terms of having a temporary jail facility a few streets over. And so we decided to amend the resolution and come up with an amended one, and that's what's before you today. This is for the commissioners that don't know and haven't been involved in public works projects where you're doing property acquisition in connection with the public works project. Sometimes you have to acquire property through negotiations with landowners, and if an agreement can't be reached, sometimes you have to resort to eminent domain. And before you do, this resolution is required.
Entertain motion.
What number we on, Judge?
110.
Okay.
Resolution order decreeing the acquisition of
So
property.
moved, Judge.
First by Commissioner Ty, second by Commissioner Gore. Any questions? Hopefully we won't use this, but it's there if we need it, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Those in favor?
All right.
Opposed, motion carries. Thanks, Nathan. 1 point, let's go back to the top, 1.3. Discuss and consider amending, Dan, would you pass the microphone back then? Discuss and consider amending the Chambers County personnel policy to create a basic uniform and appearance policy to establish a baseline minimum standard for all Chambers County employees and to include the personnel policy. So if you recall, we had this on the court previously. I think Georgia put it on and we pulled it to let the get the input from all department heads. Bill.
Yes, sir. As you have alluded to, Your Honor, this establishes a minimum standard or a baseline countywide, and then authorizes departments to submit their own uniform code or appearance code to you all for their operation within their department.
Any questions?
Is HR involved with this? I mean, or is it just?
Yes, sir. She reviewed it. Didn't have any comments.
Yeah, I was a little confused as to why it didn't come from HR.
Yeah.
Bill explained to me this morning that he was asked to put it together, so.
Yeah. and-
My only question is, has George, George originally brought this due to getting some clarity on what the county pays for and what we don't. Is all that been straightened out?
I think this will straighten it out.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's what we needed was clarification.
right.
Yes, sir. It was sent to all department heads, including George and all elected officials.
And I appreciate you working on this bill, taking on this project.
And I will say, I think it's very well written.
I do too. Entertained motion.
So moved, Judge.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Test, second by Commissioner Gore. Any other questions?
Thanks, Bill.
Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. 1.5, discuss and consider voting for members of the Chambers County Appraisal District. Last time, we split our vote between Joey Presnell and Alicia Turner, split it directly in half. And I'm proposing that we do it again.
Didn't we just do this 2 courts ago?
Made the nomination.
Yeah, I made nomination.
Oh.
Now we actually vote, assigning our votes.
All right. I'll make a motion that we appoint Joey Presnell and Alicia Turner, split the votes 50-50.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions? Those in favor?
All right.
Opposed, motion carries. 1.9, discuss and consider appointment to the Transportation Policy Council. Morning, Judge.
Don't want to interrupt. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
Thanksgiving to you, Judge.
Take care. TPC, January, December 2022, and the Technical Advisory Committee, February 2022 to January 2023, Houston Galveston Area Council. Last time we had, Barney, is it in there? Corey Taylor for the TAC. Billy Combs is alternate, primary and the alternate. And then on the TPC, Billy Combs, primary, and Corey Taylor, alternate. Yes, sir.
Is Corey on?
I think it's still on the way. Are you still there? You want to let him know?
Yeah, let him in. Please.
Yeah, I have a question for him on this.
Come on. Resolution guy.
Sorry, I was muted. Can y'all hear me? Good morning.
Morning, Corey.
Oh,
We're on
sorry.
we're on the appointments for TPC and TAC.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, I don't mind continuing to do the TPC, but we had discussed a little bit about you and Natalie on the TAC and TAC.
Yes, sir.
Is that the way you as the primary and Natalie as the alternate, or vice versa?
I think me as the primary and her as the alternate, I believe.
All right.
And that's for the TAC.
That's for TAC.
Yeah, the TAC.
That would be my recommendation on TAC. And then on the TPC, I would recommend that I continue as primary and Corey, or we could have one of the commissioners as alternate on that. Whichever way.
I don't see anybody raising their hand.
Let's leave it that.
Okay, so I mean, make sure I'm sure. So the TAC is currently Corey and Billy, and you want to leave that for the TAC the same?
TPC.
Okay, but the TAC.
The TAC would be Corey and Natalie.
Corey and Natalie, okay.
Right.
And the TPC will be Billy and Corey.
Right.
All right, that's your motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions? Anything else, Corey? Those in favor?
No, sir.
Opposed, motion carries. 113, discuss, consider adopting resolution naming the soccer field at the new West Side Complex in honor of Guy E. Matthews. You know, and I want to see us do this across the county. There's no reason why things can't be named after those that brought us to where we are. So whereas Guy E. Matthews was born in Mont Bellevue, Texas, graduated from Barboursville ISD as valedictorian in his class. Whereas Mr. Matthews became the youngest Eagle Scout in the United States at the age of 13. Whereas after his graduation from Barboursville ISD, Mr. Matthews attended the University of Texas at Austin on a football scholarship, playing under Coach Darrell K. Royal and receiving a Bachelor of Science in Physics. Mr. Matthews graduated from the University of Texas Law School in 1964. Mr. Matthews and his family before him have been longtime supporters of the Mont Bellevue community in Barboursville ISD. Mr. Matthews has throughout his life demonstrated a passion for enhancing opportunities provided to young people in his hometown. Therefore, be it resolved, the members of Chambers County Commissioners Court to hereby recognize Guy E. Matthews for his lifetime of dedication to his community and hereby dedicate the competition soccer field to be located at the new West Side Complex in his honor, thus naming the facility the Guy E. Matthews Soccer Field.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Court, second by Commissioner Court. Those, I'll say in favor, yes. None. Where are you going still? All right, 3.1, discuss, consider approving change order 1, amount of $49,910 for the addition of 322 square yards of spot repairs on the Bear Road full depth concrete repair contract with Carter Construction. Corey.
Yes, sir. And sorry, I'm a little bit preoccupied. I'm working with TxDOT and the contractor and TxDOT Liberty and TxDOT Chamber, the county and the Beaumont district in trying to get 1409 open today. We're working on that traffic signal up
You're
there.
gonna get
So
off and get that done.
I keep getting calls and everything else going back and forth, so it keeps throwing me off a little bit. So if I get a call, that'll be what it's about. So anyway, all right. So 3.1, yes, sir. We found some additional stuff out there. The contractor has offered to do that, even though it's smaller repairs, to do that at the large concrete repair quantity. So it's a little bit different than the way it was originally bid. This is a really good deal. He offered that opportunity since he's kind of low on work for the next few weeks. So it turns out is a pretty good deal to the county. So would like to go ahead and have that done if possible.
Move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Gore. Questions?
We have the money available to do that?
Yes, sir. It's coming out of tax.
Yes.
Thank you. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 3.2. Go ahead.
If I could, so also just to let you know, we've been talking, there's a few soft spots out there that I'll probably be coming back and the next court we'll be talking about. You can't really find, don't really know what you're going to get into until you dig up some of that concrete, see what's underneath it. So just anyway, I think just Robert Carter, the Carter Construction, is really doing an excellent job being a county citizen. He wants to make sure the tax dollars are spent, efficiently and effectively as well for himself. So anyway, just kudos to him.
Yeah, and we need to get this fixed correctly. It's been a long, lingering project for many, many years. All right, a problem, not a project. 3.2, discuss and consider contesting the creation of Chambers County Municipal Utility District 4 in accordance with Texas Water Codes. 94.0161, Corey.
So this is over kind of in the Cove area, but it's in Tice's precinct. It's over there, kind of would be southeast of 3180 and 565 location. We were just concerned. I think several individuals have looked at these properties and really haven't known how to develop it. I think there's a concern on how this district would be utilized. As a taxing entity, it has condemnation abilities and everything else. And I don't think there's a real good plan as to how this would be laid out. City of Cove is, we've talked with them, they have concern about it as well. And so our recommendation is to file a formal protest from the county and till, at least I guess until, we see more of what they would be utilizing these powers for.
So if it's approved, Corey, you would do that formal.
Well, so Ashley has already formed a resolution. I think it looks good.
Oh, that's right.
I believe.
That's right.
Right. So I've been working with Ashley and Commissioner
working
Tice on this. And so I think Ashley would send it, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, there is a formal resolution. All right, I'll entertain a motion. So moved. Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Gore. Questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.3, discuss and consider awarding 2022 road materials and 2022 fuel bids, the lowest qualified bidder. Court.
I believe we want to pull this one. And it is our normal process to not go with the lowest qualified bidder on this one. When the verbiage got sent in, it was a little bit different. So we normally would do all of the qualified bidders. And so I think we want to pull this and rewrite it for the next court. We have time anyway, since this wouldn't be utilized till 22.
Yeah, we need to approve more than one bidder, especially for disasters.
So we're gonna table it, not pull it?
No, yeah, because the tables will come back the same way. So let's pull it, let Corey present it. Yeah. All right, 3.4, discuss and consider approving change order number 11, the amount of $13,576.14 for the quantity adjustments made to earthwork and structure items under the FM 1409 roadway contract with Sterling Delaware Holding Company, Inc. Corey.
So we've been working with TxDOT on this change order to make sure they're good with it. There's quite a few, just as we get to the end of the job, item change, cleanups, a little bit of overrun, a little bit of underrun. It accounts for $13,576.14. I guess my only question, there was one question whether or not we got the pie chart in. I didn't get approval to submit this to court till Thursday afternoon from TxDOT. So if I would like to pass it through with the small amount it is, but I guess I will, ask the question, make sure everything's good on the submission side from Aaron or George.
Aaron.
So I know George wouldn't be happy without a PO and a pie chart, but I do have the summaries for the 1400 project. I can give y'all, but right now we've got a balance of $2.1 million. So we're still in the black. So
How much did you say?
2.1 million.
Okay.
And that includes all the activity and all the encumbrances with like the bridge and the roadway. So everything accounted for this project.
Yeah, we should be, overall out of the overall budget or what we set aside, we should be like 750,000 in the black after this project, I believe.
Right.
So Corey, what difference does it make if it's approved this court or if we get the PO and bring it back?
Well, the only issue, so the contractor submitted this back at the 1st of October, and we've been going back and forth with TxDOT, making sure documentation and all is good, that they approved it so that we're at the end of the project and making sure that we're in compliance. So he's been waiting for about almost 2 months. If we wait till the next court, it would be 2 months, but we can
approve it. We can always put it back on court with a rec and five to ratify it, if you'd like to do that.
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Combs. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Corey, I think that's all you have. Just stay on. You may have something on
I've got a couple items, three
Okay.
items on
the,
consent.
just hang there and we'll see. So,
Sure.
on 1409, they are considering opening it today, correct?
Yes, sir. We are working diligently. I've been working with TxDOT back and forth all day yesterday. Got the contractor, they found an issue this morning. I've got some Chambers County Road and Bridge personnel over there with TxDOT contractor. City of Mont Belvieu has offered to help. We're trying to get this thing open. So hopefully I'll have some news after lunch today that we're opening it on the north side.
All right, maintenance building 7-1, discuss and consider approving additional architectural and engineering costs from PBK Architects in the amount of $54,000 for the Winnie baseball field parking. Mike.
So this is just to get the design going on the Winnie parking area.
It's coming out of CEO.
Got a CO.
Need a motion, Judge.
Yes, I need a motion.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Gore. Questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 7-2, approve additional architectural and engineering costs from PBK Architects in the amount of $249,250 for the Chambers Parkway Complex parking lot and community building. Mike.
So this is the same thing, just trying to get the design work done. So when you're ready to put it on the street for bids, we can put it on the street for bids.
Yeah, Judge, it's coming out of the general fund. We expect to use McLeod Park, sell McLeod Park for $9 million to cover that whole project. We haven't got the funding yet for that, but we're just getting everything ready to go.
And to clarify a question that was asked earlier, the funding for this project, if people would recall, originally when we were looking at the CO, we did not have any ball fields in Winnie, and we were going to fund the Anahuac ball fields out of the sale of the McLeod Park. And they wanted to expedite the McLeod Park project. So then we swapped it around, not expedite McLeod, expedite the Anahuac ballparks. So we swapped it around. So the funding would be coming out of the sale of McLeod.
And
the West project and the EW4 also.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Combs.
Yeah.
Second by Commissioner Tice. Questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Law enforcement 17-1, discuss, consider approving the 2022-2023 Chambers County Officer Association collective bargaining agreement. Aaron.
Yes, sir. So I left on each one should got a little memo here describing the new CBA for 22 and 23. We've been working really hard to get this done this year. I hate the highlights of it. 22, they're gonna get a 3.5% across the board raise, like all the county employees are going to get for 22. And then 23, they'll get 5% across the board. They'll get 500 increase in their certification and degrees, 500. So each category will get an extra $500. We also included an IS certification stipend pay, $50 per month. Of course, that is contingent on if the program continues. We also negotiated they'll get disaster pay and vacation for the part-timers. It removes the captains, lieutenants from the CBA. Also said the sheriff would write a letter because they're coming out of CBA, just so that they won't lose those stipends for the captain, lieutenants, that they would keep those. We also took out the emergency pay policy from the CBA and referenced the county policy. During COVID, it was kind of a mess. So we had to go back and forth with them, but they'd agreed to take that out. We also worked on their overtime pay. The big thing was that we changed from 87 to 80, and that was in reference to there was a clause that they could get overtime pay by using their earned vacation, sick time pay. So we negotiate that out. We adjusted how they collect overtime. So they physically have to work 80 hours to get overtime now. And then just some cleanup. We just removed the K-9 from the pay table since they get stipend for being a K-9 handler. So.
Questions? Don't say I appreciate Aaron and Chief. We're putting a lot of time and effort working with the association to get this done. It's been months.
Yeah, Sheriff's Office Rick from the collective bargaining agreement. Maybe he'll be a little nicer to me this time.
Don't count.
No.
Questions? Entertained motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Combs. Here no questions. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Aaron. All right, personnel 18-1, discuss and consider status update on the following job description: county engineer, county engineer graduate, and county road administrator. Commissioner Gore. 18-2, discuss and consider update on the 2022 Chambers County PTO paid time off policy. Aaron.
Yeah, so Judge, I think in the last call we talked about a new PTO policy for vacation and things like that. Talking to HR, we feel like, I know there probably needs to be some changes and some things to be worked out with, but I think we're just gonna pull it for now. We've got a month left to do something and probably wouldn't have enough time to get everything cleaned up and stuff. So we're gonna pull it and then maybe look at it at a future.
Working on next year.
Maybe next year, yes, sir.
Okay, 18.2 full. All right, consent agenda. Precinct 1. Sir?
I'm good.
Okay, precinct 2. Good. 3. Tommy's good. Precinct 4.
Actually, I'm good. I'd just like to ask the fire marshal and also everyone, when we do changes to policies and things, if they do it in red line format, so we can gear in on what has actually changed, it'd be a lot easier to understand. I mean, instead of reading 30 pages.
Okay, we'll make a note of that and let Brian know. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Executive session 20.1, discuss and consider personnel issues. 20.2, discuss and consider sale, purchase of real property. 20.3, discuss and consider engaging Organ, Bell and Tucker to represent the county and filing suit against Frontier Communications for trespass and related claims as to Chambers County School Land, Crockett County, Texas. 20.4, discuss and consider personnel issues, including the EMS department grievance appeals. And 18.1, discuss and consider status update on following job descriptions. With that, at 11:02 a.m., we will recess to executive session. All right, court come to order after executive session, 12:06 p.m. 18.1, no action. And under executive session, 20.1, 20.2, no action. 20.3, I'll entertain a motion to engage Organ, Bell and Tucker LLP to represent the county in filing suit against Frontier Communications for trespass and related claims as to Chambers County.
So move.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 20.4, discuss and consider personnel issues, including the EMS department grievance appeals.
Make a motion, Judge, to affirm the county's action in response to the EMS grievances.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Tice. Favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Nothing further to come before the court. We got a lot done today.
We
are adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Relatively short.
Yes, no doubt.